Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. According to the Competent Communicator Manual, your icebreaker speech is the easiest one. If this is the truth, I am in a world of trouble. So, for about the past 3 weeks, I've been agonizing over what I'm going to get up here and talk about. And I'll be perfectly honest, right now, I'm still not even sure. So, I have this paper in front of me, and I think we're just going to wing it and just kind of hope for the best. And hopefully you guys will think I'm a cool guy and want to still hang out with me every Monday. Worst case scenario, Steve just keeps me off the schedule. For starters, I'm not actually a Florida native. I grew up out in Colorado, and I know the first thing that all of you are thinking is, oh, Colorado, he must have skied. No, I never went skiing. I actually lived out on the plains on a little farm about 30 miles from town. And since this is summer, as today's theme, I want to tell you guys a little story about Colorado in the summer. I actually was hanging out with my older brother in Colorado Springs, about 30 miles from where I lived, in the middle of July, wearing shorts because it was like 70 degrees, and that's what you do. And we decided to drive home at about 6:30, 30 miles, no bigs, right? We get about halfway home, and it starts to snow. Wow. About 5 minutes later, it's whiteout. Complete blizzard, can't see anything. Needless to say, we got about 3/4 of the way home before we went off the road, got stuck in a ditch in a snowdrift overnight. So my favorite thing is when I hear people say here in Florida, if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes. Yeah. Visit Colorado. Okay? You never know what's going to happen. So after Colorado, I lived in Connecticut, and I think that's where I spent some of my more formative years. It's where I learned to drive. Thank you. And actually, as you can attest to, see, Boston drivers are not that great. So, well, that's what I thought until I moved to Florida, and now I've learned the truth. So, now I'm here in Florida, and when I first moved down here, actually, I lived in Orlando and worked at Walt Disney World, which was great. It was the most wonderful experience of my life, I think. Going to work every day and just being happy, and everyone's happy to see you. I started out at Epcot, at Innoventions. If any of you have ever been there, it's just playing video games. I hang out with people, tell them how to play the video games, and then play them with them. It was the best job ever for a 22-year-old kid. Like, what else do you want to do with your life? And then after that, I decided to go work for the Animal Kingdom, driving the safari trucks around and talking about animals, which was even better. It was like a little trip to Africa every 20 minutes. And while I was working there, I was going to school full-time, so I was doing about 60 hours a week at work, 40 hours a week with school and homework and everything. And that's when I met my partner, Adam. And we decided one day that it would be great for me to move out here and live with him in Tampa so I could do a little less work and a little more school, and it's worked out wonderfully. I couldn't be happier. And I couldn't leave Disney without leaving my mark. If any of you have ever been to the Animal Kingdom and ridden the safari, then you know those trucks are huge. They're about 30 feet long, room for about 30-something people. Well, every morning you have to drive them out to the ride path, and I was doing that one day, Christmas Day, my last day there. And for some reason, I got distracted around this corner, like, just because, and hit a ditch, went down into the mud, lost control, and skidded all the way down a fence that keeps elephants in. My friends still talk about me and call me Crash. That's my nickname around Disney. And if you go back there, the fence is still bent in a little bit. Now, since I've been living in Tampa, I've been going to school at the University of Tampa. I'm actually doing my undergrad there in the program of Government and World Affairs, which is basically political science, but we kind of break it down to a few different things. My focus is actually world affairs, and my goals in life are to make a difference and work with people. So when I'm not doing that, or here at Toastmasters Club 1810, the oldest and most prestigious club in the Tampa Bay area, or at the beach, I actually am volunteering. Currently, I volunteer tutoring English as a second language. Good story about that. You go there and you think that you're going to be teaching these people all these great things about language. First of all, apparently I'm not a very good speaker, because whenever I speak to them, I get a lot of whats. Secondly, about 3 months into it, we got a student from Russia. I was ecstatic. I'd never had a student from Russia before. She speaks English so much better than I do, and she's always correcting my vocabulary and my grammar. It's kind of, upsetting at times. But when I'm not doing that, I'm also doing an internship at the Hillsborough County Homeless Coalition, which hopefully someday will turn into a job, just doing data entry and learning how nonprofits work. I've had a lot of fun every time that I've come to Toastmasters, getting to learn about all of you. I'll be honest, part of this for me is networking. Hopefully meeting all of you will introduce me to other people in the neighborhood, and I can get more involved in other ways in the community. It's something that I love doing, and if any of you do anything like that, let me know, because I definitely am going to be right there with you. And I hope that all of you enjoyed learning a little bit about me, and I look forward to being great friends with you. And one more thing, I couldn't leave this out. Donna Blyler, my first Toastmasters meeting was one that will live in infamy.
What did I do?
I'm not going to repeat the quote. I think most of us remember. But something that's kind of funny is that the entire time that I rewrote this speech about 12 times in total, I kept thinking to myself about your little quote, and I think it's true. About, procrastination. Thank you, Donna Blyler. And thank you, Madam Toastmaster.